Hello, everyone. Welcome to The Sam Fury Show. This episode is a deep dive discussion into Sam Fury's summary of Chapter 6 from the book Profit First by Mike Michalowicz. It has been created with the help of AI. The chapter is titled Destroying Debt. You can read the original post at samfury.com.
All right, so today we're diving into Profit First.
Okay.
And hopefully we'll unlock some secrets to building a profitable business.
Yeah.
I'm excited about this one.
Me too.
This book, it takes a different approach than a lot of other business books.
Uh-huh.
It's not just about making more, but it's more about kind of changing how we think about spending and saving.
Right.
I'm especially curious to see what they mean by celebrating savings.
That's an interesting concept.
It's not a phrase you hear every day.
Not really, no.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
Yeah.
The book argues that we can rewire our brains to find joy in saving instead of just spending. They call it celebrating savings.
Okay.
And it's about finding ways to reward ourselves for making smart financial decisions, even small ones.
Yeah. I'm all about finding ways to make finances less of a chore.
Sure.
So Profit First is based on a pretty simple equation, right?
Yeah.
Make more plus spend less equals wealth.
That's the basic premise.
But there's got to be more to it than just that.
Right. The book dives deeper into the human element.
Okay.
It recognizes that we're wired to seek pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes spending feel good in the moment,
It does.
but often leads to regret later.
Yeah.
So the book argues that by understanding this wiring, we can start to shift our behavior
Okay.
and make choices that align with our long-term financial goals.
So it's about finding that balance between like instant gratification
Yes,
and delayed gratification.
exact.
But how do we actually do that?
Well,
I mean, it's one thing to say save more, but putting it into practice can be a whole other challenge.
right.
You know.
Profit First introduces a system for allocating your income that prioritizes profit and savings right from the start.
Okay.
It's about creating a structure that makes saving automatic.
Mm.
So you don't have to rely just on willpower.
So instead of just trying to save whatever's left over at the end of the month,
Yeah,
we're building savings into the equation from the get-go.
exactly.
I like that approach.
It starts with understanding this concept of profit distribution.
Okay.
Basically, Profit First encourages you to allocate a certain percentage of your revenue to different accounts.
Like what kind of accounts?
Profit owners pay taxes and operating expenses.
Hold on. Before we go any further, can you clarify what profit distribution means in this context?
Sure.
I think some listeners might be unfamiliar with that term.
Profit distribution is the process of dividing your business's profits
Uh-huh.
among different predetermined categories,
Uh-huh.
according to the percentages you set in your Profit First system.
Okay.
It ensures that you're consistently allocating funds towards your goals.
So we're essentially dividing up the money as it comes in,
Right.
making sure that profit and savings are accounted for before we even think about spending.
Precisely.
Okay.
It takes the guesswork out of saving
Got it.
and helps you prioritize profitability from the very beginning.
I'm starting to see how the system could work.
Good.
But how do we determine those percentages? And where does owner's pay fit into all of this?
Profit First
Hmm.
recommends starting with a small percentage for profit
Okay.
and gradually increasing it over time.
Mm.
This allows you to adjust to the system without feeling overwhelmed.
So that sounds like a good way to kind of ease into it. I'm
Yeah.
guessing we'll dive deeper into those percentages in the next part.
Yes, we will.
But for now, let's talk about owner's pay.
Okay.
Profit First takes a rather unique approach, right?
It does.
Instead of paying yourself based on your highest earning month's profit first, advocates for basing your salary on your lowest earning months.
That's right.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Why would you base your pay on the leanest months?
It seems counterintuitive, but the logic is that by basing your pay on your slowest months, you're ensuring you can always pay yourself,
Mm-hmm.
even during slow periods.
Oh, okay.
This creates a more sustainable financial foundation for your business.
I see.
Yeah.
So it's about creating a realistic baseline for your income, one that you can consistently maintain even when things aren't booming.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it helps you avoid overspending during those high revenue months.
Okay. I'm starting to see how this approach could help create more stability and financial security.
Good.
But how do we actually implement this in practice?
Yeah.
Walk me through the steps.
First, you average the income from your slowest 3 months.
Okay.
This gives you a clear picture of what your business consistently generates,
Uh-huh.
even during lean periods.
Right.
Then you set your salary slightly below that amount. This creates a buffer in your owner's pay account,
Okay.
ensuring you always have enough to cover your personal expenses.
So we're not just taking an average and setting that as our salary.
Right.
We're intentionally setting it lower to create a safety net.
Precisely. And the difference between your salary
Right.
and that 3-month average
Yeah.
accumulates in your owner's pay account,
Okay.
creating a financial cushion for your personal needs.
So what happens if we have a really good month or quarter? Do we just let that extra money sit in the owner's pay account?
Not necessarily. Profit First allows for quarterly salary adjustments based on the balance in your owner's pay account.
Okay.
If it's growing, you can give yourself a raise.
I like that.
It's about aligning your pay with the reality of your business's performance,
Uh-huh.
both in lean times and during periods of growth.
This is fascinating stuff.
Yeah.
It's like we're creating a system that protects us during the slow times and rewards us when things are going well.
That's the idea.
I have a feeling Profit First doesn't stop there, right?
You're right.
There's more to this equation than just allocating for profit and owner's pay.
We still need to figure out how to manage those operating expenses.
Okay.
And that's where things get really interesting.
All right.
Profit First advocates for a pretty aggressive approach to cost cutting.
Okay, now we're talking. I'm all for finding ways to trim the fat and boost profitability.
Good.
But before we dive into the specifics of cost cutting, let's take a quick break and come back, refresh, and ready to tackle those expenses head on.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, so we're back
Yeah.
and ready to tackle those operating expenses.
Let's do it.
Profit First.
Yeah.
It doesn't advocate for your typical budgeting advice, does it?
No, not really. It's definitely not your typical pinch pennies approach.
Okay.
Profit First aims to make your business lean and mean by systematically reducing expenses.
Okay.
It starts with something called the instant assessment.
Instant assessment. I like the sound of that. Tell me more.
Essentially, it's a way to quickly gauge where your business stands financially.
Okay.
It involves analyzing your income statement to determine a target for your operating expenses.
Oh.
The goal is to operate 10% below this target, forcing you to get creative and efficient.
So we're not just arbitrarily slashing expenses.
Right.
We're using this assessment to set a realistic and achievable target.
Exactly.
I'm assuming the book provides specific steps for conducting this instant assessment.
It does. But we don't need to get bogged down in the details here.
Okay.
The key takeaway is that it helps you identify areas where you can potentially reduce costs without sacrificing the quality of your products or services.
Got it. So once we've conducted this assessment and determined our target, what's the next step?
Okay.
How do we actually start cutting costs?
The book outlines a simplified 4-step cost-cutting plan.
Right.
The first step is to thoroughly assess your income and expenses.
Okay.
You really need to understand where your money is going,
Yeah.
which expenses are truly essential,
Mm-hmm.
and which ones could potentially be reduced or eliminated.
Makes sense. No point in blindly slashing expenses without understanding the bigger picture.
Right.
So it's all about being strategic and intentional with our cost-cutting efforts.
Exactly. And remember, the goal isn't to deprive your business,
Right.
but to optimize your spending
Okay.
and ensure that every dollar is working toward your profitability goals.
All right. So we've assessed our expenses. What's the next step in this cost-cutting plan?
The second step can be a bit sensitive,
Okay.
but it often involves taking a hard look at your labor costs.
Okay.
This means analyzing roles,
Uh-huh.
identifying potential redundancies, and considering whether any positions could be eliminated or restructured.
Yeah. This is where things can get tricky, right?
Yeah.
Layoffs are never easy decisions, and they can have a huge impact on your team morale.
Absolutely. It's crucial to approach this with empathy and transparency.
Yeah.
Profit First emphasizes the importance of open communication with your team
Mm-hmm.
and ensuring that any decisions are made with the long-term health of the business in mind.
So it's not about just cutting jobs to save money. It's
Right.
about strategically evaluating your workforce
Yes.
and making sure that everyone is contributing to the overall success of the business.
Precisely. And sometimes that might involve shifting roles,
Okay.
outsourcing certain tasks, or even offering training programs to help employees develop new skills.
Yeah.
It's about finding creative solutions that benefit both the business and its employees.
Okay. I'm glad we addressed that sensitive topic with nuance and respect.
You too.
So we've assessed our expenses and taken a look at labor costs. What's the third step in this cost-cutting plan?
Profit First recommends a pretty bold move here.
Okay.
Stopping all automatic payments,
Oh.
except those vital to your business.
Okay.
That means canceling credit cards, halting direct debits, and essentially cutting off any recurring expenses that aren't absolutely essential.
Wow, that's a drastic step.
It is.
I can see how that would force you to reevaluate every single expense.
It's a powerful way to regain control of your finances
Okay.
and identify those hidden expenses that are draining your profits. It forces you to make a conscious decision about every dollar that leaves your account.
I can see how that could be a real eye-opener.
Yes.
But what about essential recurring expenses like software subscriptions or utilities?
Sure.
We can't exactly eliminate those, can we?
You're right. Some expenses are non-negotiable.
Yeah.
And that brings us to the fourth step in the cost-cutting plan, renegotiation.
Okay.
Profit First encourages you to renegotiate every recurring expense you can,
Every single one.
even the small ones.
Interesting. So it's not just about cutting costs. It's about getting the best possible deal on everything.
Exactly.
Even those seemingly insignificant expenses.
Yes, they can add up over time.
Yeah.
And remember, every dollar you save goes straight to your bottom line.
Right.
Profit First suggests aiming for a 25% reduction in your recurring expenses.
It's like 25%.
You might not always achieve that,
Okay.
but starting high gives you room to negotiate and often leads to significant savings.
I love that it's about being proactive and assertive in our approach to finances.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, what if a vendor refuses to budge?
Okay.
Do we just walk away from that service or product?
Not necessarily Profit First emphasizes the importance of preparation. Before you enter a negotiation, do your research.
Okay.
Find alternative providers.
Mm-hmm.
Compare pricing. And be prepared to walk away if you don't get a reasonable offer.
So it's about having a backup plan. Right.
And not being afraid to stand our ground.
Exactly.
But let's be realistic.
yeah,
Not every vendor is going to be willing to negotiate, especially in today's market.
true.
What happens then?
You're right. Sometimes you might hit a wall.
Yeah.
But even if you're only able to renegotiate a portion of your expenses,
Okay.
those savings can still have a significant impact on your profitability.
I'm starting to see how all these pieces fit together.
Good.
It's about being proactive, strategic, and persistent in our approach to cost management.
Yes.
But I can't help but wonder, what about those unexpected expenses?
Sure.
Life throws curveballs.
It does.
And it's not always possible to plan for everything.
You're absolutely right. Unexpected expenses are part of life,
Yeah.
both in business and personally.
Okay.
But Profit First helps us build a financial cushion to weather those storms.
So it's like having an emergency fund, but on steroids?
Exactly. By consistently prioritizing profit and savings,
Okay.
you're creating a safety net that can absorb those financial shocks without derailing your progress. Okay, that makes me feel a lot more secure.
Good.
But let's shift gears for a moment and talk about the flip side of the coin.
Okay.
Generating more revenue.
Yeah.
Profit First doesn't just focus on reducing expenses.
Right.
It also emphasizes the importance of increasing our earning potential, right?
Absolutely. It's about creating a system that supports both profit generation and expense management. It's a holistic approach to building a financially thriving business.
So how do we do that?
Okay.
What are some practical strategies for boosting revenue within the Profit First framework?
Profit First suggests focusing on your core offerings,
Okay.
the products or services that generate the most profit.
Okay.
It's about identifying your strengths and maximizing your impact in those areas.
That makes sense. Why spread ourselves thin on unprofitable offerings when we could be doubling down on what's already working?
Exactly. It's about working smarter, not harder. And that might involve streamlining your operations,
Okay.
eliminating unprofitable products or services, or even raising your prices.
Raising prices can be scary,
It can.
but I can see how it could be necessary, especially if we're providing high-value services
Yeah.
and our current pricing doesn't reflect that value.
It's about knowing your worth and charging accordingly.
Okay.
And remember, you can always offer different pricing tiers or packages
Right.
to appeal to a wider range of clients.
This is giving me a lot to think about. I'm starting to see how all these pieces fit together.
Yeah.
But before we wrap up this part of our deep dive,
Yeah.
I want to revisit the concept of celebrating savings.
Sure.
We touched on it briefly in the beginning, but I'm curious to explore it further.
Okay.
Why is celebrating savings so important within the Profit First framework?
It's all about rewiring our brains
Okay.
and creating positive reinforcement for good financial habits.
Okay.
By celebrating our wins,
Yeah.
both big and small,
Uh-huh.
we create a positive association with saving and financial responsibility. This makes it more likely that we'll stick with the Profit First system and achieve our long-term financial goals.
So it's not just about delayed gratification.
Right.
It's about finding ways to enjoy the journey and reward ourselves along the way.
Precisely. It's about making financial responsibility feel less like a chore
Okay.
and more like a path to freedom and abundance.
I'm totally on board with that.
Right.
But how do we actually put this into practice?
Okay.
Give me some actionable tips for celebrating savings.
One idea is to create a visual representation of your progress.
Okay.
This could be a simple chart tracking your debt reduction, or a jar where you drop $1 every time you make a wise financial decision.
I love that it's like a tangible reminder of our progress.
Yeah.
Something we can see and feel.
Exactly.
It's way more motivating than just staring at numbers on a spreadsheet.
It is, and don't forget to celebrate those milestones.
Yeah.
Hit a big savings goal.
Yeah.
Treat yourself to something small but meaningful.
Okay.
Paid off a large chunk of debt. Take yourself out for a nice dinner. These small rewards reinforce those positive associations with financial responsibility and make the journey more enjoyable.
Speaking of celebrations,
Yeah.
I'm curious about how Profit First handles unexpected income.
Okay.
Say we land a big client or receive a bonus.
Uh-huh.
Does all that extra money go straight to debt repayment?
Not necessarily. The book acknowledges that life is full of surprises.
Yeah.
Both good and bad.
That's true.
And it's important to build flexibility into our financial system.
So there's room for spontaneity.
Yes.
We're not just robots programmed to save every penny.
Definitely not Profit First. Encourages us to set aside a small percentage of our income for a fun account.
The fun account.
Yes, this is guilt-free money we can spend on things that bring us joy.
I'm officially on board with this plan.
Good.
It's about balance, right?
Exactly.
Financial responsibility doesn't have to mean living a life devoid of pleasure.
It's about finding a sustainable approach that works for you. One that allows you to meet your financial goals while still enjoying life.
This is mind-blowing. It's
Yeah.
like a financial framework that can be applied to every aspect of our lives, both personally and professionally.
You're getting it. Profit First is more than just a set of rules.
Okay.
It's a mindset shift.
Yeah.
It's about changing the way we think about money,
Yeah.
making it work for us instead of the other way around.
This has been an incredible deep dive into the Profit First philosophy so far.
It has.
But we're not quite done yet.
Right.
Stay tuned for the final part of our deep dive,
Yes.
where we'll unpack even more advanced strategies and answer your burning questions about financial freedom.
That's good.
All right, welcome back to the final part of our Profit First deep dive.
Yeah.
We've covered a lot of ground from profit distribution
Yeah.
and cost-cutting strategies
Uh-huh.
to the importance of celebrating those financial wins.
It's been quite a journey.
It has.
Hopefully by now you're feeling more confident and empowered
Yeah.
in taking control of your business finances.
I definitely am.
Good.
But before we wrap things up, I want to circle back to something we've touched on a few times.
Okay.
The psychology of money.
Right.
It seems like Profit First really understands
Yeah.
that our emotions play a huge role in our financial decisions.
Uh-huh.
Maybe even more so than we realize,
You're absolutely right.
you know?
Traditional budgeting methods, they often fall short because they neglect that human element,
Okay.
focusing solely on numbers and restrictions.
Right.
Profit First acknowledges those emotional drivers
Okay.
and works with them, not against them.
So instead of just creating a budget and hoping we stick to it,
Yeah.
we're actually looking at how we think and feel about money.
Exactly.
Like we're going deeper than just the practical steps.
Profit First helps us reframe our relationship with money.
Okay.
It encourages a shift from a scarcity mindset to one of abundance.
That sounds intriguing, but what does that actually look like in practice? What's the difference between a scarcity mindset and an abundance mindset?
So a scarcity mindset is rooted in fear and lack.
Okay.
It's that nagging belief that there's never enough, leading to stress and anxiety around finances.
Yeah.
It can make us hoard money,
Okay.
make impulsive decisions, or avoid facing our financial realities altogether.
I think a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with that,
Yeah.
especially in the early stages of building a business when resources are tight.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
But an abundance mindset
Yeah.
is grounded in the belief that there is enough to go around, that opportunities and resources are plentiful.
Okay.
It's about trusting in your ability to create the financial future you desire.
So it's about shifting our focus from what we lack
Yeah.
to what we have,
Yes.
from feeling limited to feeling empowered.
Precisely. It's about recognizing our own resourcefulness
Okay.
and trusting that we can find creative solutions to financial challenges.
I love that shift in perspective. But how do we actually cultivate an abundance mindset?
Okay.
It's one thing to understand the concept,
Right.
but how do we put it into practice?
One powerful tool that Profit First highlights is the practice of gratitude.
Gratitude.
By focusing on what we're thankful for, we shift our attention away from what we feel is lacking.
Gratitude has a way of shifting our entire perspective, doesn't it?
It really does.
Yeah.
It can be as simple as keeping a gratitude journal
Okay.
or taking a few moments each day to reflect on the positive aspects
Yeah.
of your business and your life.
What else can we do to cultivate that abundance mindset?
Another powerful technique is visualization.
Okay.
By vividly imagining our financial goals as if they've already been achieved, we create a sense of possibility and motivation.
So it's not just wishful thinking.
Yep.
It's about creating a clear mental picture of our desired outcome.
Exactly. The more detailed and emotionally engaging the visualization, the more powerful it becomes.
If we truly believe we can achieve something, we're much more likely to take the steps to make it happen.
Right. It's about aligning our thoughts and feelings with our goals,
Okay.
creating a powerful force for positive change.
This is fascinating stuff. It's amazing how much our mindset influences our actions, even when it comes to something as practical as finances.
It's all connected, and I think that's what makes Profit First so effective. It addresses both the practical and the psychological aspects of money management.
This has been an incredible deep dive.
It has.
I feel like I've gained a whole new understanding of not only how to manage my business finances, but also how to shift my mindset to one that supports financial success.
I'm glad to hear that. And remember, it's not about perfection.
Okay.
It's about progress. Take what resonates with you,
Yeah.
experiment with the strategies, and find what works best for your unique business.
That's such great advice.
Thank you.
And for our listeners who are eager to learn more, I highly recommend checking out the full Profit First book.
Me too. It's packed with even more insights and practical tips.
Absolutely. And don't hesitate to seek guidance from a financial advisor or coach.
Yes. Good idea.
They can provide personalized support and help you tailor these strategies to your specific needs and goals.
Absolutely.
So as we wrap up this final part, I want to leave you with one final thought.
Okay.
Financial freedom isn't some distant dream.
Yeah.
It's within your grasp.
It is.
It starts with a decision,
Yeah.
a commitment to prioritize your financial well-being,
Right.
and Profit First provides a clear roadmap to get you there.
Believe in yourself, take action, and celebrate every step along the way. You've got this.
That's a wrap on our deep dive into Profit First.
Yeah.
We hope you found it insightful, inspiring, and empowering. Until next time.
Yeah.
Keep learning, keep growing, and keep diving deep into the knowledge that fuels your success.
Thanks for tuning in to The Sam Fury Show. If you found this episode useful, let us know with a like, follow, and share. Also, if you haven't already, be sure to visit samfury.com to get free access to all our original summaries, which you can download as PDFs, as well as other exclusive content. It's all completely free at samfury.com.